Brothers and sisters, welcome to the three-time award-winning audio podcast channel, Duke Loves Rasslin. We are the exclusive home of the Devon and the Duke podcast featuring WWE Hall of Famer Devon Dudley. And of course, our flagship interview show, Duke Loves Rasslin. We're bringing you the informative, hilarious, and enjoyable episodes each and every week. Subscribe, like, and share with everyone you know so you don't miss a single episode. Duke Loves Rasslin, available wherever you listen to podcasts, including Spotify. That's right.
Hey, it's me, the Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart, WWE Hall of Famer, and Duke Loves Rasslin, baby. It's number one.
Hey everyone, this is Lowell Reed from Reed Between the Ropes Promotions, and you're listening to Duke Loves Rasslin.
Brothers and sisters, let me tell you something. I love not only doing this show because it gives me an opportunity to give back, not only the kids who are just getting out of wrestling school, not only the current stars, but also the legends, to be able to highlight them and remind the world that these are folks who existed, they matter, and here's some information about them that you may not have known or that you forgot about. It's always fun to do that. One of the other aspects that really, really gets me up in the morning and gets me pumped up about doing this show is making connections with people who you just know they're just good people. Like, it's easy. Every conversation is effortless. It's like we've known each other forever. And we're like-minded. We care about people, and we care about making life easier for others. You know what I mean? And certainly my guest on this episode is someone that's what he does. That's what he does. It's what his wife does. They make life easier for others in many different ways. And you're going to hear about that right now. So without further ado, my brother Lowell from Reed Between the Ropes. What's going on there, Lowell?
Hey Duke, how are you? Thanks for having me on.
Man, I'll tell you, you and I have had so much fun talking over the last few weeks here, and it's so refreshing to be able to connect with you because you're such a good dude. I've talked to a lot of talent who have used your services, and they've all said the same thing about you and your wife, just really, really good people that they love. So it's special to have you here on the show, man, and be able to explain to my audience who you are and what you do and all that good stuff there, because I'm sure you're gonna get a lot of new customers and fans and what have you, not only for yourself but also for the talent that you represent. So first and foremost, Read Between the Ropes. What is it, and why does it matter?
Well, I'll tell you, Duke, I've been a wrestling fan for as long as I can remember, probably since I was about 8 years old, during the 1980s wrestling boom, right? That was the era where everything felt larger than life, and I was completely hooked. And one of the biggest moments for me was back in 1988 when the WWF came to my hometown of Roseburg, Oregon. The only time they've ever been there, and they haven't ever been back there since. I was 10 years old, sitting in the crowd with my dad, and my cousins Jess and Cale, and my best friend Brian. And it was Hacksaw Jim Duggan versus Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man. And my dad still talks about to this day that I tried to get an autograph from the $1 Million Man, and he flung his hand at me, and my dad's still convinced that Ted DiBiase is the biggest jerk in the world. And I said, well, Dad, that's he did his job well then. So, yeah, it was just the greatest thing in the world, and that night stuck with me forever. Fast forward, then after high school, I joined the Navy in 1986. Ended up serving 28 years, and I retired just back in 2024 as a chief warrant officer. And I was lucky enough to have an incredible career and deploy over the world, and work with some great people. But through all of it, I never stopped ever being a wrestling fan. So then when I retired, I decided it was time to really lean into that passion and see what I could do in this wrestling world. And that's how Read Between the Ropes Promotions started. At first, it was just connections and conversations in the wrestling community. I met a guy, I think you know him, Steve Stasiak, who runs the the Book Pro Wrestlers Facebook page.
Yeah, Book Pro Wrestling.
Yeah. Him and Leilani. And through him, he connected me with WWE legend Leilani Kai. And man, if you're going to have a network or a contact or someone's name that you can use and vouch for you, there ain't no one better than Leilani. So from there, things kind of snowballed in a way that I never, ever expected. And my first booking ended up being with Hall of Famer Medusa. Again, worked out through Steve and Leilani putting word in for me. So since that first booking with Medusa, I've been fortunate enough to work with legends like Hacksaw Jim Duggan, the Masterpiece Chris Masters, Lillian Garcia, the Brooklyn Brawler, the Lonnie's tag team partner, Judy Martin from the Glamour Girls. And by the way, Judy Martin is an absolute doll, one of the nicest human beings and funnest human beings you'll ever meet, along with her sister, Kathy. Great, top-notch, fun people. Chrissy Vane, another former WWE talent. You know, Chrissy shared the ring with some of the legends. Big Vito. And I've also worked with Mikey Blanton from Black Label Pro on conventions and projects like Squared Circle Expo. And I got some other things coming up with Mikey as well. But at the end of the day, I really still see myself as that fan who never grew out of the fandom. And that's really what Read Between the Ropes Promotions is all about. Bringing the fans, collectors, and legends together and creating moments that people will remember. But I got to say real quick here too, last and most important, none of this would be possible, and I couldn't do any of it without my wife, Angela. She's my high school sweetheart, and I like to say that she's the CSO of Read Between the Ropes, Chief Spousal Officer. And honestly, she's my tag team partner in all of this. The CSO, you know, I always introduce her as the CSO and the tag team partner. She's been there since before the Navy and throughout my entire military career, and now through this wrestling journey. She keeps me grounded, listens to all the crazy ideas, whether she wants to or not, and is good at telling me to pause, no, stop. And she's right there with me at these events at, you know, more than people even realize how much she's involved. But yeah, she really enjoys working with the talents too. She's really developed a good bond with Medusa specifically. I've worked with Medusa a couple times, and they'll flat out tell you, Lowell, you can go away. Medusa and Angela got this, you know, and she developed a good bond with Leilani too. But yeah, she's the heart and soul. I love her, and I couldn't do any of this without her. But yeah, this is kind of how this all came together, and kind of what Read Between the Ropes Promotions is about. You know, bringing the legends to the fans, and the fans to the legends.
Wow, that is incredible. First and foremost, absolutely. Shout out to your wife. She's someone that, you know, the wrestlers and the fans out there have a lot of respect for, and you're right. They're always saying, Lowell, you know, she's got this. So you go grab a drink or something, get out of here, you know. She's prettier than you, so don't take it personally, brother. It's just the way it is.
Right.
But I'll tell you something funny, man. We have the tall ships here in Boston, and
awesome.
You know, I was out there for them coming in and what have you. You're a Navy guy, so I know that means something to you when I talk about these tall ships, all these historic ships out here. You know, talk to me about the Navy, man. Just that experience from a general standpoint. Can you still swim like a fish?
Yeah. Not for as long as I used to be able to. But you talk about the tall ships. So Chief Warrant Officer Reed has his name engraved on one of those tall ships out there. Old Ironsides, USS Constitution.
Yes,
they were doing some rework at one point in time and have this brass panel up there, and you could go up there and engrave your name on it and your little date, and it got added to the ship. So got my name on some history there. Yeah, you know, I literally, Angela and I got married. So we graduated high school in June of '96. The next weekend, we got married. 2 weekends later, I left for boot camp, right? So the joke in the Navy always is, well, the the wife was issued a new sea bag. Well, hey, guess what? I had my wife before I had my sea bag. But as an 18-year-old, serving for 28 years, so I was right at 46 when I retired, I saw a lot of the world. I got to go on some of the oldest aircraft carriers that were out there. Big E, the USS Enterprise, was my first ship. And then my last ship was the USS Nimitz, both two highly decorated warships. I got to see some beautiful parts of the world, like Lisbon, Portugal. And matter of fact, my dad, so the Navy has a thing called Tiger Cruise, where families at the end of deployment can meet the ship and cruise back to home port. It's usually kind of a shorter, 2 or 3 day, maybe one week at the most. Maybe they'll meet you in Hawaii and cruise back to San Diego, or meet you in Florida and cruise back to San Diego. Well, I was on the Enterprise, which is home ported out of Norfolk, Virginia, and they decided that they would do a Tiger Cruise, a transatlantic, where they would pick Tigers up in Lisbon, Portugal. They didn't think they were going to get many takers on it, but it was really the only opportunity they had, so they said, sure, we'll do it. And I'll tell you what, that ship was packed with Tigers. That's what we call the family members. And my dad flew to Lisbon, Portugal, and that was an awesome experience. So we were there in Lisbon, ported for 3 or 4 days, and just getting to spend that time with my dad, going and visiting castles and visiting Lisbon was an awesome experience. And then going back in the ship for a week and a half, cruising back from Portugal back to Norfolk was an amazing bonding experience with my dad. All the airplanes were still on there, so they put on amazing air shows, and they got to see how we live, and they say get to see the food we ate, but they're full of it. They got good food. They doctored the food up for those Tigers. There's no way they're going to show what we really ate, but so I remember one of the biggest memories on there, my dad, they did an air show, and I've seen aircraft break the sound barrier, and I've heard it. But we were right there on the flight deck, and this F-18 broke the sound barrier, and we felt it. It confuses you. You felt it in your stomach. You felt it in your head. It was just a great experience. My dad caught it on his camera, and it's a beautiful picture. You see the sound barrier being broken around this airplane, and it flying through it, just one in a million shot. And just my dad had a great time. And it was awesome. Fast forward probably 10 years after that, had the opportunity to take my mother on a Tiger Cruise. That one, we were on the Nimitz, and we pulled into Pearl Harbor, and my mother flew out there, and same thing. We had about 3 or 4 days in Hawaii at Pearl Harbor. We went and toured the memorials and saw the Arizona, and that was very special because my family has had a Pearl Harbor survivor that was part of our family. My Aunt Brenda later in life married a Pearl Harbor survivor, and he had passed away by that time. But when we were going to go look at that museum and listen to those stories, it was already powerful, but having that personal family connection in there was just a very, very powerful and emotional experience. And to be able to have that experience, it not just as a sailor by themselves, but to have your family there with you and experience that together was a chance in a lifetime. And it was a very emotional and beautiful moment. And and then we cruised from Pearl Harbor back to San Diego. And along with that, we also saw a lot of, in a 20-year career, not so pretty and beautiful places. I've been to Afghanistan a couple times. No room for it. Have been there, got a t-shirt, have zero desire to ever go back. Iraq multiple times. Saudi Arabia multiple times. Turkey was beautiful. I really enjoyed Turkey. I'd go back to Turkey any day. So that's kind of, I was an aviation maintenance officer. Originally, when I first started, I was a jet engine mechanic on the old EA-6B Prowlers. And I eventually commissioned to an aviation maintenance warrant officer. So, definitely enjoyed that. And I was also fortunate enough in my shoot job when I retired from the Navy to transition into a career field where I'm a product support analyst with the Navy's MQ-4C unmanned Triton aircraft. So it allowed me to stay connected and support naval aviation and support the sailors without the stressors of active duty, and just kind of be there to help them out. It's great because I know firsthand from being in that seat, there's only so many things that those sailors can do, and they only have so many hands. So to be able to be a problem solver and a troubleshooter for them and add an additional hand, and when they get to something that might be a roadblock, to be able to help them turn that roadblock into a detour so they can get around it and continue the mission, and make their life a little easier. I'm just really blessed to be able to continue doing that. So that's a little bit of the Navy talk.
Well, that blows me away, and I love it. And obviously, I know it's become cliche to say thank you for your service, but truly, thank you for your service, Lowell. That knowing that you were in the Navy and you had that kind of experience, and the one thing that stood out to you enough that you wanted to mention and emphasize was the fact that you got to share some of those experiences with your family, especially your father. That tells me everything I need to know about you as a human being, and it lets me know that everything that I've heard about you from others is 100% true. You're a great, great guy, man. Like that was special, what you just shared.
Thank you.
And I appreciate it. It's interesting because you're a vendor where you help pro wrestlers get booked at events, and you make it possible for people to meet these pro wrestlers at these events and get pictures, autographs, share a memory, and all that good stuff. Because you're a military guy, there's something about structure and organization. You're a product analyst now in your civilian life, so to speak. So I want to ask you and really tap into your analytical brain here and your organizational skills here. When it comes to going to conventions and meet and greets and things like that, where, we as fans get an opportunity to meet our heroes. As a vendor, help me out with some best practices here, and we can make it as simple as possible. Let's start from the very beginning. I find out that one of my favorite wrestlers is going to be at an event that's not too far from where I'm at, so I want to go. So I go online, and I'm taking a look at the website. I'm trying to figure out, what tickets I should buy and things like that. Most of these events, they generally are either one or a couple of days. So when it comes to buying tickets, right, let's start from that very beginning. You have the general admission, you got the VIP packages, you got all these different options and stuff like that. Help me out here, Lowell. In your experience, what makes sense? How should a customer start this process?
So one thing I'll start with on there that is probably, I'll say, you can't see my air quotes right now, obvious for those who have done cons, whether it be a wrestling con or Comic-Con or show, a couple of times, they know this, but somebody that's their first time may not know. First and foremost, those tickets, the admission, that's getting you into the show. You talk about you see your idol, the guy you want to meet. Those tickets, those experiences, and those meet and greets to get the photos and autographs are separate after you already have admission to the show. You gotta get the ticket to the show first, and then you can start talking and doing that. So that might seem obvious to some, but then to others who don't know that, yeah. So two different things: the tickets for the experiences and the admission to the experience are two different things. So yeah, you talk about, you see the first thing you need to do is kind of, you go to their website, or click here, whether they use Eventbrite or whatever different page they use to show their tickets. And just take some time and look at what they have. A lot of times, if you get in early enough, when the show first announces and posts the dates, you may see some early bird tickets, where it says, 20% off until this date, 30, or whatever the case. Obviously, that's the best way to go, right? But then you kind of ask yourself some questions. Is it just me going? Am I taking my little one? Okay, I want to take my little one. Do I need to buy my little one a ticket? Again, read the fine print on there. A lot of these shows will say kids 10 and under, or kids fill in the blanks and under, admitted free with an adult ticket. So look at that. Don't jump in and buy 2 tickets when you may not need to buy 2 tickets. So look and see that. And then, along with that, the whole family's going. You can buy tickets for everybody. Or again, all these ones have like a family pass where it's tickets for a day family pass or a weekend family pass, and you get tickets for 4 or 5, however many it's on there, for a discounted price, and that's a smart way to do it if you're taking the family. And you look at that, and you definitely are saving money compared to buying tickets for all 4 of you individually. And then, other thing is, you'll see some of them have the VIP pass. Well, what is that? What am I getting with the VIP pass? Well, why do I need that? Just get the general admission and go. Well, that VIP pass can make the huge difference is, first of all, the doors open usually an hour and a half to 2 hours, somewhere in that window, prior to general admission. So you get an early entrance into the event, and that gives you right off the bat, right? First dibs, to be in line to see your favorite talent quicker than general admission. Gives you that advantage to go to those merch tables and grab that action figure to have your hero sign, or awesome poster, or 8x10 before somebody else grabs it up because you're in there early. But what it also does is it gives you that, usually, even if you got there the same time as everybody else, the VIP usually has a separate line and allows you to walk in rather than standing in line for however long with everybody else. But again, if you're just looking to get in and not spend that extra money and have the same experiences and opportunities, then sure, maybe the general admission is right for you. The VIP experiences also have, more often than not, some other little perks, whether it be a exclusive lithograph or exclusive print, that right off the bat, not everybody's getting that, just the VIP. So that's a cool piece to have. We have a bunch of those on our wall from the different shows we've gone to, kind of just show on there on our I Love Me wall, the different shows. There's also a pretty cool piece, and maybe you get signed. It usually has some of the headliners of the show on that print, and so you can get that signed. Again, another experience that general admission may not get. Above and beyond that, some shows, not all, but some shows will have a VIP line at the tables for the guests that are actually booked through the con. So same concept of getting into the show. There's lines, and there's longer lines for the big name headliners. And so that VIP gets you, just like at Disneyland, right? Gets you that head of line, quick line access. So some of the shows offer that. So that's the perk of the VIP. Also, but you mentioned a 2-day show. That's something to look at. Determining, do I need to go? Do I want to go both days? And really to answer that question, you need to look at the talents and see what days they're there. Maybe the one talent you really want to see is only there one day. So okay, just go there that day. Maybe there's multiple talents that are there for different days. Then obviously you want to go Saturday to see talent X and Sunday to see talent B. But you also want to look at, it's almost like going to, I'll use the Disneyland analogy. Planning your visit out, okay, this person's going to be here both days. this person's only going to be here one day. So I'm going to get a 2-day pass, and I want to see this person, so I'm going to go ahead and see them on Saturday. That will free me up on Sunday to see this person, and not be running crazy all day. So yeah, and then, obviously there's the money piece, right? We've got into the show, we bought the tickets, we figured out which tickets we wanted, and we're in the show. You need to have cash. Everybody talks about cash is king. You need to have cash in your pockets for a couple of reasons. Me personally, at my vendor tables, I take the plastic. I take plastic. I take Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, Zelle, and I'm never going to tell you, no, I won't take cash. I always take cash. But I take those because I'm never going to lose a sale and let you lose an opportunity to meet a talent because you ran out of cash somewhere else where cash was only accepted. So now all you have is those other methods. No way. You're still going to meet that wrestler, and I'm still going to make that sale. We're going to get that sale done one way or the other. So we have multiple methods. Now that isn't always the case. There's some of them that just, some vendors and some talents that just easier to take cash only. So that's fine. That's why you need to have cash. And I'll tell customers that too. Hey, if you have cash, we'll do either one. If you want to save your cash for the cash only folks, let's do that. Other reason you have the cash in your pocket, there's a kind of con 101, things we forget about often is it's very easy to walk around for 6-7 hours and realize, oh man, I didn't drink any water, I didn't take a break, I didn't eat any food. So you need to have some money in your pockets to do that, to go buy some drinks, go buy some water, go buy a snack to stay carved up and energied up. And the other reason cash is important is because even like myself, people take electronic methods, but technology is technology, right? It doesn't always play nice. We can have every intention in the world to take those electronic methods, but if cell phone signal isn't working great, if Wi-Fi is unreliable or goes out, you kind of get a lot of the shoulder hand waving. There's not a whole lot I can do. That's the same thing. You don't ever want to be in a position where the person you wanted to meet or the nachos you wanted to eat aren't available because all you had was electronic methods and you're out of cash. So bring that cash with you. Most events have ATMs, but just like you, everybody wants to use that ATM, and those ATMs go and run out quick. So bring that stack of cash with you, and try to budget if you can. It's great when cons have kind of an idea price list. A lot of those prices a lot of times are, just for 8x10s, just for photos and pre-sale prices, but you can use those to kind of budget how much cash I need to have with me, and how much money I can have. And some of them, I mentioned pre-sales, that's another good way to budget. And that when I get to that table, if I did a pre-sale, I'm not going to have to worry about, hey, do you take cash or do you take card? I already have my ticket, and that's already done. That piece is already purchased and budgeted. And I always do that with my talents. I have a pre-sale link on my socials where we can go in there and you can do your pre-sales and get your tickets and have that out of the way. Another benefit of that is a lot of talents and wrestlers and vendors these days charge what they call a premium price for a lot of times the prices you see advertised are just for an 8x10 or a flat, they say. Things like belts, action figures, they oftentimes mark up a premium price. What we do on our pre-sale, one of our pre-sale perks is, through the pre-sale, the bonus is there is no markup for premium items. So there's kind of two benefits for that customer. One, they've already budgeted. They have a ticket. They don't have to worry about the hassle. They get to the table. Hey, John Smith, yep, we got you, and that's done. And two, they're paying the same price whether they get an 8x10 or they get their championship belt signed or their action figure signed. So that's kind of the benefit of the pre-sale. And also, budget for and have that safeguard for oh my goodness, I didn't know they were going to be there. That's a prize person. That oh, wow, yeah, I didn't know they were there. I want to get them. Or that, really? That's all they're charging? I wasn't going to get that, but if that's just what he's charging, I'm definitely going to hop in there and get that. You set up the Q&A panel, and you listen to this person talk and tell their story. Wow, you know what? Now I want to go meet them, get my picture taken, or go buy their book. So have some just money for Justin, just in case.
This guy, Lowell, you know, he's a military veteran, gave us all that great information about the Navy, talked about his wonderful family, and now he's explaining to you in detail the best way to get the most out of going to these conventions. You know, whether it's pro wrestling or sports memorabilia or Comic Cons or whatever, these rules apply. It's all across the board here. If you want to get the best, if you want to maximize your opportunity to do it safely, have the most fun, and be able to share an experience with your loved ones, you got to listen to Lowell. He knows what he's talking about with that. That was excellent. Excellent breakdown right there, brother. And I appreciate that. In fact, you know, Lowell, I know you have some big bookings coming up. So I'm going to put you on the spot, man. You talked about the fact that you've had Medusa and Leilani Kai, and shout out to both of them, two heroes of mine, two ladies that I love. Had great interviews with them recently. But can we break some news here? Don't you have another big name that you have booked for an event coming up in a couple months?
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate the opportunity. I'm very, very excited about this one, actually. So October 10th in Lutz, Florida. If you look at it, it looks like it says Lutz, but it's pronounced Lutz. That's in the Tampa area. Yeah, but Saturday, October 10th, Barry Rose and Captain's Corner are putting on Glory Days GrappleCon 5 at the Residence Inn Tampa Suncoast there in Lutz. And I've gone to the last several of those. That was actually the first show that I worked with Medusa, had Medusa there. These are great shows. They're on the smaller side. They're in a hotel kind of large banquet room is the right term, banquet room, and they're very intimate. You know, we're talking about 15 to 20 wrestlers max. So there's plenty of time to go around there and meet all the fans and all the talent, and they get a lot of repeat business. It's like a family reunion. I say repeat business, not the talent, but the customers and the fans. It's like a giant family reunion. And, hey, Bill, what are you up to? Joe, Jim. Everybody knows each other. But the guests we're going to bring, this is something I've been working on for quite a while. And, again, shout out to Steve Zach, once again, for Book Pro Wrestlers, for helping broker this. We got somebody that I'm excited about who's had some rough times with life and health recently and is doing better. And we're going to get them back out there and give them an opportunity to interact with the fans. And we're just very excited to announce that Brian Knobs of the Nasty Boys is going to be our guest there at Glory Days GrappleCon 5. Just very excited. For decades, Brian's and the Nasty Boys have entertained wrestling fans around the world. They were tag team champions in the WWF, tag team champions in WCW. They had legendary battles with the Hart Foundation, the Legion of Doom, the Rockers, the Midnight Rockers back in AWA before they became the Rockers in WWF. The Steiner Brothers, Harlem Heat, and just so many others. You know, any of those tag teams you put out there, you can talk about the battles they had with the Nasty Boys. So Brian's definitely have left an unforgettable mark on pro wrestling. But really, what excites me about this one here, this appearance is bigger than championships and rivalries. It's about gratitude. Over the past several years that we talked about, Brian has received an incredible outpouring of love, support, prayers, and encouragement from wrestling fans everywhere. Now, after he's made very, very few appearances in the recent years, Brian has this special opportunity to do something he's been looking forward to and really, really getting ready to go back and do. That's to personally say thank you. Thank you to the fans for the memories. Thank you for the support. Thank you for never forgetting And for the fans, it's an opportunity for them that simply does not come around very often at all. It's an opportunity for them to share stories, relive memories, and an opportunity to shake hands, take pictures, and spend time with one of the most colorful and beloved personalities in wrestling history. And it's not just another autograph signing. It's about memories. It's about celebrating that legendary career. It's about giving Brian Knobbs a chance to personally say thank you to those fans for their love, support, and encouragement that has meant so much to him over the years. And those are really rare moments and are really special moments. But those are also the moments that professional wrestling and professional wrestling fandom is all about. An amazing opportunity to welcome Brian back and celebrate that bond between the legend and the fans who supported him for generations. An opportunity that we're excited about to really help Brian Knobbs take one more trip to Nastyville. And to me, that's what Read Between the Ropes Promotions is all about right there.
Read Between the Ropes Promotions, folks. I'm telling you, just a wealth of knowledge. Awesome, awesome stuff. Why don't you everybody know, Lowell, what's the best way they can keep up with you so they know all the events that you have coming up where you're going to have talent, who the talent is going to be, and even, some of the special limited edition items that you'll have for sale as well, because that's one of the cool things about Read Between the Ropes Promotions, folks. They always have exclusives. Why don't you put it out there for us there, Lowell?
Yeah. So my Facebook is just that, Read Between the Ropes Promotions. I'm also getting out of my comfort zone of the boomer mode. I'm on Instagram also. On Instagram, it's at Read BR Promotions. Again, Read B like Brian, R like Ropes Promotions on Instagram. And like Duke said there, we have our upcoming events, our talents. We have our exclusive merchandise, which, by the way, if I can give a plug for Tony at Retro Remix 3D. He's my print guy. He's made, like you said, some awesome different merchandise, whether it be ice cream bars, an awesome Medusa replica wrestling belt and trash can. He's got some awesome things lined up for Brian Knobbs replica Nastyville street signs. You can see all those on our social media. And we also have giveaways and contests also. So yeah, please check us out and stay up to date and we'll see what we got.
Strictly for the culture every day. Step in style in your unique way. Patterns and colors so divine. All about the perfect line. Be yourself, let your spirit fly. In this fashion, you'll touch the sky. Strictly for the culture, brand so fine. Dress to impress and show your shine. Strictly for the culture, every day. Step in style in your unique way.
Visit www.strictlyfortheculture.ca. Brothers and sisters, I am always talking about staying hydrated. We got to get those B vitamins in. I always walk with something to drink, and I encourage you to do the same thing, especially as we creep into the summertime. Well, I want to let you know that our friends over at Liquid IV have a new energy multiplier. And get this, it's sugar-free, no jitters energy with a hydration-first formula designed to keep you going without the crash. The wonderful flavor that they have right now is lime margarita. And certainly, I couldn't get through Duke Loves Rasslin if I'm crashing. I got to stay up. I got to stay hydrated. Most importantly, got to stay focused. And certainly that's what Liquid IV can do for you, just like it does for me. But don't take my word for it. If you haven't ordered at liquidiv.com before, head over there. You're going to save 20% when you use the promo code REFRESH, REFRESH. Now, if you're a veteran of Liquid IV, meaning that you've partaken in some of the wonderful codes that we've run through the years, then as always, use the promo code Duke Loves Rasslin. You'll save your traditional 10%. I just want everybody to be hydrated. I want you to have safe energy. Most importantly, I want you to have a good time. So please visit liquidiv.com. Use those promo codes, save some money, stay hydrated. And now, let's get back to Duke Loves Rasslin.
Hey everyone, this is Micah Madrid, aka Sylvia Sanchez from Wow Women of Wrestling, and you've been listening to Duke Loves Rasslin.